What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj, and after yesterday's video, I'm gonna have to win some of you guys back over by making a less controversial video about the Eastern Conference standings. And I'm gonna do Eastern Conference today, Western Conference tomorrow, and I feel like it's a good idea to do it now because I've been waiting for Kyrie Irving and Carmelo Anthony to move to whatever team they're going to play on for next year. It isn't happening, and I'm just going to assume it's not going to happen until, too late to make this video. So, yeah, let's just leave it at that. We're going to get into this video. If you guys didn't know, this was the video that I made last year that got me really going on YouTube, I guess I would say. I was at like 16 subs or something like that. It just kind of exploded. Anyway, yeah, this is NBA Live demo gameplay. If you guys are looking at this, I just, got some new gameplay and I was thinking I'd show it off because I haven't put gameplay in videos in a while. I was wondering if you guys would still want that. It's always good to do, by the way, just because of the fact that I can't really monetize videos with highlights, so it's just always helpful. And yeah, we're gonna get going, starting at number 15. Just want to let you know, last year I was pretty off with the list. I mean, I guess the areas, I was pretty close with a lot of teams, but getting them exactly right is very tough. It's always like impossible to get these right. We're just gonna see how this goes. Number 15, I have my Chicago Bulls, and this is maybe based off hope because I want to tank. I'm a Bulls fan. If you guys didn't know, couldn't figure that out. I want the Bulls to tank so we can get a good pick, because we're supposed to be rebuilding, and when you're rebuilding, you want to get good picks, and our team's really bad right now. There's no better time than now. You guys might be thinking like, oh, well, Zach LaVine and Dwayne Wade are pretty good. I mean, Dwayne Wade really doesn't play any defense. He's just going to shoot a lot of shots, and I don't really think that any of those guys are going to help the Bulls win a ton of games next year. I mean, obviously the Bulls will win some games every once in a while. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league next year, honestly, because the West is usually a little bit better top to bottom. The top teams in the West are better than the top teams in the East. Bottom teams in the West are better than the bottom teams in the East. The West is just better than the East in general. So yeah, Bulls at 15. At number 14, I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets. I predicted the Brooklyn Nets actually correctly last year. I think I had them at 15, and I have them at 14 this year. Making a jump. As you guys probably know, the Brooklyn Nets traded away Brook Lopez to get D'Angelo Russell, Timothy Mozgov, and the Nets. I think they made a great trade there, but in general, I think the Nets will be a little bit better because the Nets last year were made up of a group of, some pretty young players that are supposed to be developing, and those players are just bound to get better. I mean, I think we're going to see guys like Sean Kilpatrick and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Isaiah Whitehead, among other players, get a little bit better. The team matures. Jeremy Lin is pretty prepared for next season too. He says the Nets are going to make the playoffs. He doesn't care what anybody says. They're going to make the playoffs. Okay, good luck with that, Jeremy. Wish you guys the best. That would be fucking hilarious if that happened. That would be so funny. And I think, I wouldn't mind that. On number 13, I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks just lost their two big men, Paul Millsap and Dwight Howard. Two of their best players, and Paul Millsap was clearly the best player on this team. He's gone, and it looks like the Atlanta Hawks are Project Dennis Schroeder. I mean, really, he is the go-to guy. He had a really good season last year, and he's going to have even more freedom next year, even more keys to the offense. I don't know if you can really use that term like that, but whatever, I just did. Dennis Schroeder, it's going to be all about him next year, and I think he's a pretty good player. And the Hawks are a well-coached team. They have good role-playing. They move the ball well. I think they're a smart team in general, but this team next year just will not have talent. They're not going to be able to win a lot of games because they're not going to have the pieces to do that. They traded Dwight Howard for literally nothing. I mean, if that doesn't tell you something about their direction, I don't know what will. At number 12, I went with the Indiana Pacers. They traded away their star player, Paul George. Didn't get a whole lot back from him, which probably makes sense. Paul George did say he was going to opt out, and he kind of screwed the Pacers over so bad with that by saying he was going to leave in 2018, because of what it meant is now everybody knows that the Pacers have to get rid of Paul George, and they don't want to offer that much for him because his value is now decreased due to him saying that. So yeah, I mean, if Paul George could have just told the Pacers without them leaking it, I don't know why it was leaked. Get your stuff together, Indiana. I mean, they just could have done better with it. Either way, they get Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. And Miles Turner is also a really good player. But this team is so young. They don't really have any direction either. I don't know. I think they're gonna still try to aim for the lottery again, see if they can get someone good next year. And man, like, this team could be good in the future. I mean, I feel like Victor Oladipo still has room to grow. Miles Turner certainly does. He could be really good in this league. He could be an all-star for sure. And whoever they draft next year, if they're this bad, they look to be doing a pretty solid rebuild, maybe I would say. But mainly, I don't think this team has any leadership or something like that. I think guys are just going to try to get better. They're going to try to, develop these players and get someone good next year in the draft. At number 11, I had the Orlando Magic. This was a team I really weren't sure where to put them, but somewhere in the lottery. I feel like this team, they add Jonathan Isaac and Jonathan Simmons, does help. But the Magic have just, I don't really know what they're doing at this point, because I feel like they're getting some decent players on their team. They're drafting these guys or they're signing these guys. They're convinced that they're going to be something, but then, you don't know if they're trying to trade them or not. Like Nikola Vucevic and Evan Fournier, but this team still isn't good. And Elfrid Payton's the guy they're trying to get to be good, and I just don't really see it there. Mario Hezonja looks like a draft bust. But the signing of Jonathan Simmons, the drafting of Jonathan Isaac are two moves that are likely to give this team more wins than they had a year ago. And, you expect young players to get better. I don't know what they're going to do with, Vucevic. Is he still going to be there? I don't know. You really can't tell what's going on with them most of the time. They don't really know what they're doing. I don't think their front office is all of that great in any way, really. At number 10, the New York Knicks. Another year missing the playoffs. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. And this one was really hard to do as well, just because you don't know what's going to go on with Carmelo. But the Knicks, I mean, they lost Derrick Rose and Justin Holiday last offseason. They made the draft of Frank Ntilikina in this year's draft. And I think that this wasn't a great pick. He could be decent. He's not really like a franchise cornerstone type player, but he might complement Kristaps Porzingis. And we'll see about Carmelo Anthony and if he's going to stay there or not. But the main goal and the main focus, as always in New York, is going to be Kristaps Porzingis. He is the guy. I mean, you really can't put it any other way. This is the franchise. Kristaps Porzingis is the New York Knicks right now. And he's going to get better, hopefully. That's all they're relying on, but they're not really set up to have that good of a season next year. As their last few years have been plagued with Phil Jackson just screwing everything up. Now, number 9, I went with the Detroit Pistons. I was really on the fence about the Detroit Pistons, but overall, I don't think that anything can really save the dysfunction and just, man, what is going on in Detroit? I had this team taking a huge step forward last year in the offseason, and they didn't. But the Detroit Pistons, I feel like, are one of those teams that should be decent. But they did trade away Marcus Morris. They got Avery Bradley, which I think makes them a little bit better now. But what are we to expect of Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond this season? What is going on with that? I mean, those guys took a step back, a huge step back last year. And what is the direction of this team? What are they doing? Are they trying to win now? Or are they trying to rebuild? I don't think that they might trade away Reggie Jackson. I think they really should after last season. I don't know who really wants him in that contract, even though, contracts are a little bit devalued now after, max numbers are just increasing. So Reggie Jackson's contract isn't that big of a deal, but still, I just think it's dumb. Number 8, Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte's back in the playoffs this year, I'm thinking. Barely. Kemba Walker should be just as good as he was last year. He's a young guy. He's getting better. He's really, really talented. They got Dwight Howard. That should help a little bit at that center spot. And, they got a pretty nice team over there anyway. Nick Batum, MKG, and Marvin Williams, along with Kemba and Dwight, is really not a bad starting lineup. and they drafted Malik Monk too. So we could see him getting some big minutes of rookie year. I don't know. I don't really think he'll get that many minutes, but I think this team is like, they really underachieved last year. And I don't know if they're going to do that well next year because Dwight Howard's always just such a question mark. And it's like, what is Dwight Howard really going to do? Is he really going to make you that much better? Is he going to make you better at all? He should, just based on, when you look at, oh, well, he's a big body that can defend at the rim and rebound. Like, that's what they could use down there. But yeah, I guess he's an upgrade over Cody Zeller, right? At number 7, the Philly Sixers. I know you guys have been waiting for me to say this. You waited through the whole lottery, didn't hear the Sixers. And yeah, I got the Sixers in the playoffs for the first time in a while. I think the Sixers are gonna be pretty good next year. I don't think they're gonna be that good. They're gonna be decent, good enough to make the playoffs. Markelle Fultz is a really good player. I think he's gonna show that rookie year. I think he's gonna have a really good year. Ben Simmons is back. And if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, he will be a monster. It's going to be interesting to see how Dario Saric fits into this as well. JJ Redick, of course, is going to make a big difference for this team. I think they're well equipped. I think they have what it takes. Amir Johnson's another guy that landed in Philly. I think that Philadelphia is ready for the big stage now. Number 6, the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, staying at 6, it seems like they should definitely be higher. I understand that, but I do think their win total will increase for sure. I think the top teams, like maybe in this section, Milwaukee will have more wins than they did last year. I just don't think that they'll be a higher seed because I think the East is a little bit better. I think these top teams should have higher than 41 wins, 42 wins, whatever they had last year. I think they're definitely going to have more than that. So don't worry about that, but I just couldn't really put them ahead of the teams ahead of them, which gets me on to number 5, the Miami Heat. I had the Miami Heat taking a big step forward. I know that they were doing phenomenal at the end of last season. They really deserved to make the playoffs, and it was tough to see them not. I was a Bulls fan, but looking back on it, I kind of do wish Miami had made the playoffs because they would have made a difference. They were so good to end the year. They were 31-10, right? 31-10, something like that. Crazy. And, I just think the Miami Heat could be a really good team if they got it together. It seemed like they got it together at the end of last season. They're bringing a lot of the same pieces back, so they should be pretty damn good. I think that they're going to be pretty good, and they're going to give a lot of teams trouble. At number 4, I went with the Toronto Raptors. I don't know. I mean, they really do really good in the regular season every year and don't do anything in the playoffs, so, it doesn't really matter where they are. Sorry, that was unnecessary. I shouldn't have said that. Toronto, they're a good team. They got DeRozan, they got Lowry, they got Ibaka, they got some good players. Don't forget about Valanciunas down there in the middle. And they have the same players they had last year and the year before. And they have Ibaka for the full season. So they should be good. And I do think they always overachieve in the regular season, but maybe, just maybe, they put some focus on, scaling it back a little bit. Maybe they do what the Warriors did and they're like, okay, let's just take it easy for most of the season and go hard in the playoffs. And maybe that cost them a few wins. I don't know. Maybe they should try that because whatever they were doing before and are doing and been doing is not working in the playoffs. Number 3, I went with the Washington Wizards. I feel like this team knows what they've got to do. I feel like they just keep getting better. All the players on this team, especially the core of John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Otto Porter, basically just those guys. I mean, they just keep getting better. John Wall is phenomenal as a player. Bradley Beal showed us that he's the real deal last year. Real deal Beal, am I right? Otto Porter is really good as well. I mean, he can shoot the ball as well as anyone. I don't think he's going to shoot that well next year. I think he's going to have a worse three-point shooting season, which isn't that bad because he was number 1 for most of the year, at least. I don't know if he finished number 1, but Otto Porter was really good shooting threes last year. So I don't think he's going to be number 1 next year or have the same percentage he had last year. But I do think he's going to be effective. I think he's going to get better. I think the Washington Wizards can put it together, can get more wins. They had a really good stretch. I mean, last season, they started off terrible, but they got it together. I think they know what it takes. I think they're going to come in. I think they're going to come in hot. I think they're going to start really well to the season. Maybe win like 9 of their first 10 or something like that. I really expect that from the Washington Wizards at this point. I think they're gonna wow us out the gate. At number 2, I got the Cavs, which means number 1 is the Celtics. We all know. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but whatever, it's too late. The Cavs at number 2, yeah, look at all the dysfunction going on. I think we're going to get to a lot of moments where, like, the Cavs go on like a 4-game losing streak, and it's like, what's going on now? Like, it's just like a reality TV show at this point. Really, the Cavs are a reality TV show at this point. Kyrie Irving is a reality TV star at this point. And I think Kyrie, is he gonna get traded? Yeah, at some point, but who knows? I can't. I have no idea when the guy's gonna get traded. It's gonna happen, most likely. It should happen. I don't know why it wouldn't happen. The Cavs gotta know they've gotta pull the trigger at some point. I mean, they just can't let it sit forever. Kyrie Irving will be good when he's there, and when they trade him, the Cavs might get something for the future, which will be very interesting to see. It's like, well, you don't usually see a team like the Cavs getting like, you know, a young, super young player, like, I don't know who they were thinking about getting, like Andrew Wiggins. I heard Boogie Cousins was also like one of the people that was a trade target for the Cavs. Like, wow, this could get crazy. Either way, LeBron James is still leading this team, which means this team is going to be a guaranteed top 3 seed. I don't see the Wizards surpassing the Cavs. They could be 1 or 2, and I just don't think they're going to survive. I don't think they're going to win enough games to be number 1. I think they're going to see some struggles big time. I think the Cavs aren't in a very good place right now, and it's going to show next year. At number 1, Boston Celtics, like I said. And, you know, I don't think Isaiah Thomas is going to do what he did last year. I really don't. It would be insane. It would be awesome, because I love seeing 5'9" guys like myself dominate where they shouldn't in, like, the NBA. That's always fun. And Isaiah Thomas is a great player, but it's not really about him as much as it was last year. Last year, we were all wowed at Isaiah Thomas. Like, he led this team as the only all-star to a number 1 seed. And he's 5'9". He's 5'9". Sorry, I got a little bit too out of control there. But he was awesome. I mean, he averaged like damn near 30 points, and he was efficient and everything, and he was great. And he was a huge presence for this team. But the addition of Gordon Hayward is next level stuff, and it bolsters this team even more. Yeah, they got rid of Avery Bradley, one of my favorite players, just because he's so underrated. I love his game. I'm not really a fan. He's cool. But they got Marcus Morris in return. You know, I talked about the trade, the money thing. Yeah, I get it, but I don't see why Marcus Morris, because your rebounding situation was bad last year. It's not good now. Either way, the Celtics have more talent for a regular season run than any team, and I think they're gonna be more motivated to be that good. I think Gordon Hayward will help them a lot, and we're gonna get to see Marcus Smart bloom into something big next year. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I feel like Marcus Smart as a starter now, I assume he's gonna be a starter, his shot should improve, his defense is gonna be always there, he's gonna be a really good presence, he's gonna be a positive impact player, which is something the Celtics could use for regular season wins, which will put them at number 1 in this list. Guys, this video ran too long, but if you have a list, you probably do, you will put it down in the comments. Like the shit up if you enjoy, please do that. Comment what you think. I'm sorry if I offended everybody yesterday with the James Harden video. I'm really sorry. I'm not sorry that I made the video. I'm just sorry that I offended you, that a lot of you just, you know, couldn't dig deeper into the video and, you know, actually listen to what I was saying. But, yeah, that's going to do it. Subscribe if you're new. Comment what you want to see from this channel. We got the Western Conference standings tomorrow. This is it. Peace out. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all.